Now on Country Life, part 3 of a series on a project happening at the very bottom of the North Island. Last time, schoolchildren were planting trees in remnant podocarp forest bordering the Ruamahanga River. And before that, they were on the riverbank, learning about flow and fish.
Yay! This is going to be fun. Oh, I can't wait to go in the tent!
We're back at Ruamahanga Farm, and this time, instead of hands in the soil or the water, it's hands on pen and paper.
This is my second time being at this farm. How much times have you been? Oh my god, this is so hard. My mum said these ones give you wishes.
You've got a dandelion there.
Yeah, I'm just going to do it with my hands. It's hard. There you go.
What are you looking forward to today?
I'm doing like fun stuff, writing. Sometimes I like doing maths.
Do you like writing?
Yes.
Got any ideas what you'll be writing about today?
Probably some sheep.
The river
Uh-huh.
and the trees, all the grass, the frost, the trees that we have planted.
And I found
So that's what mostly we'll be doing.
You've got a feather there.
a feather quill. You dip it in ink and then you write with it.
Let's go ahead.
I'm going to be working also about farm.
We're just walking across the farm now. The children are all around me and we are scrambling towards the gate here, and we can see this bell tent in the distance. Now, bell tent it's a sort of pyramidal shaped tent, canvas set among the trees, and this is going to be the outdoor classroom for the day. You looking forward to it?
Yes.
We'll join the kids in the bell tent later, but first to the day before, when they're among the bulrushes and birdlife on the edge of Lake Wairarapa, further down the valley.
Thank you.
Do any of you have any questions?
It's another outdoor lesson learning about the moana and some of its inhabitants with Maddie Glover from the charity Mountains to Sea Wellington.
Did anybody try and count how old these ones are? Did you guys? Yeah? How old do you think they were? So we took the kids down to the very edge of the lake where the Upurua spillway comes into the moana, and we collected a handful of kakehi, which are freshwater mussels, so that the kids could have a look at the condition and age them, and we could talk about the migratory patterns. So our freshwater kakehi are really connected to our whitebait species, and they use them to migrate up and down the rivers. So when the babies come out into the water column, they'll hitchhike onto our fish and go up into the rivers to
What's
find
the
a new
population
home.
looking like?
So we know from a really incredible 10-year citizen science project that the population in the lake is not looking great. We can't really seem to find juveniles at this stage in the 10 years across the 2 sites that have been looked at. So there's some concerns. We know that the lake is in really poor quality. It's not got good flow, especially because of the gates and the diversion. And there's a lot of nutrients in it that aren't getting flushed out, as well as the sediment build-up. So all of these things put a lot of pressure onto our kakehi. And then there's also declining fish populations, so they don't have their little relationship working anymore.
What were you teaching the kids today down there?
Today,
Apart from, were you sort of expressing the sort of declining population part of things, or?
we didn't talk too much about the declining population, more just around the importance of how what we do on the land affects our waterways, and how all of our waterways and everything that lives in them are really connected. So if we want to protect something, we have to look after everything that's connected to that. We can't just look at one tiny little aspect.
And these year 3 and 4s, how old are they, 8 and 9-year-olds?
Yeah.
They're going to be doing a writing exercise tomorrow based off this.
Yeah.
What did you put into your talk today that might inspire them?
Well, I'm hoping that a lot of these kids come from farms, and I'm hoping that they're going to go back and have a look at the waterways flowing through their properties and see if they can find kakehi, and maybe they'll come back tomorrow and talk about in their stories about how there's a little piece of the lake living on their property. One of the kids did mention that he's found lots of kakehi in his farm drain before, so we don't know what will come out, but we're excited to see it.
Right, pull a circle ring through.
I think what Jane and Rod have come up here is such an impressive project, in part because of the way that it's connecting kids really deeply to the environment through all of the, they've got planting and science and writing and art coming up as well, but it also gives every single kid a chance at something that they're good at. Not every kid loves being outside, but they're a good writer, or some people don't like numbers, but, they can run up and down a stop bank and collect bugs all day. So it gives every kid a different chance to connect to the environment and find the way that they can try and do better in future generations.
And the writing part, the literary part specifically, how do you think that connects them with the environment?
I think it puts them a little bit more into that reflective space. It can be a little bit chaotic when we take them out into the environment. So to then come into that calm space with Jane and Rod and sit down and reflect and put words to what they're thinking when they were outside is really powerful.
These field trips are part of Te Reo o Te Wai, which is a 6-month project set up by the Ruamahanga Farm Foundation and run by Jane Ridderford and her husband Rod Sugden, who Maddie mentioned earlier. The project combines storytelling, hands-on freshwater science and native planting along the river and the wetlands. The nature, conservation and educational element are not too different from Jane's earlier work in inner-city London. We're back on the farm, where the children, alongside the river, will be letting their imagination flow. And that's where the bell tent comes in.
Gumboots off here, and then take your mat and we'll sit inside.
Okay.
But can we do it in small groups and slowly? Shh, wait.
I need a mat.
I'll open up. And we'll just go 5 at a time.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go second.
I'll put my hand on your head and you can go in, okay? I think it creates a really contained, cosy space and for creativity.
We could fit like 18 people in here since it's so big on the inside compared to it's tiny on the outside.
But I think it helps them kind of leave all the rest of the world behind. We worked a lot in our gardens in the middle of London, in the middle of all the glass, shiny, high-rise buildings. We had tents and yurts, and it I think it helps people shift gear and step into another way, and perhaps more imaginative way of being.
Here's warm because the sun's shining down. Because you can actually move around. Put your feet here.
After all the excitement, they settle down, weaving in their recent learning into their own stories.
Giant cockapoo.
Giant cockapoo, yes. It's always unknown, I always begin and go, oh my God, is this too abstract? How do we get there? Is it asking too much? And it's a balance between kind of structure and not structure. And what's this one?
Giant cockapoo.
Yeah, and what's this one?
Water climbing cockapoo.
It's isn't it? It's not there's inanga, which is all the white bait. And the climbing one is called koado.
Yeah,
koado.
Giant cockapoo.
Yeah.
What about yesterday when we were with Cara and Maddie? What were the little things we got to feel in the water?
A
Yeah.
Fish mussels.
Yeah, and what was the te reo name?
I forgot.
It's like, sounds a bit like the bird, but it starts with K.
Kakahi.
Well
done,
Kākahi. A lot of people wouldn't know that. So, Kākahi. You remember what that did too? What were the...
It filtered the water.
Yeah, that is a kind of really good scientific fact. It filtered the water. And does anyone remember how much it filtered an hour? 1 litre an hour. So that's a kind of, did you know that?
Yeah, so we'll start together. And yeah, well done, that's good. All right, we're going to write up.
I'm Lara Hooper and I'm the Year 3, Year 4 teacher at Kahutara School.
How long have you been involved with the program here at Ruamahanga Farm?
Since the beginning of term 1. So, yeah.
Same group of children coming the whole time?
Yes, it is.
And how have they developed, do you think, as they've gone along?
Oh, look, just for them being able to get out into the environment, I've just seen them learn so much about our local history and things. And then when we go back and we put it into our writing or even in our art, I am seeing their descriptive language coming out, which for some of them as Year 3s, they were only sort of touching on at the very beginning of the year. And so now for them to grow, it's just amazing.
What are some of the qualities, lovely descriptive words for water? Sparkling, yep. Glistening. Joyful. Beautiful. Gleaming. Cold. Charming. That's a nice one. Okay. Charming. Flynn, one more. Shimmering. What are some of the technical words we might bring in?
Think science.
Think more sciencey. Dirty. Flowing. Salty. Well done. Yes. Quick. Nice. Muddy. Yeah, lovely. Frozen. Yucky. Okay, I think, is it our...
Do you think that being so immediately surrounded by what they're talking about also helps the writing?
100%. I definitely do. And, I mean, that's why I think, the whole idea of, oh, gosh, we've got to focus on phonics and blah, 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 it's important. But if there's nothing to write about, then what are they going to write about? So I think there's something about what are the metaphors, what's the metaphorical landscape in which any of us are inhabiting is going to affect what are the stories we tell and how we are. So just being so involved in the river and the rest of the whenua. I love this quote, I think it's from David Abram, that stories are half made by humans and half made by the earth. And I think we have to enter into that kind of, create the conditions for that kind of storytelling to happen, or you could, where the earth is partly telling the story.
As a kaitiaki of our moana, I want the water to be shining like the sun.
As kaitiaki of our moana, I want the water to be clean, beautiful and sparkling. I also want it to be always under 10 degrees so fish can swim in it. Some of the fish will be species of kōkapu.
Kaitiaki of our moana, I wanted the water to be shimmery and beautiful, joyful, healthy, incredible and sparkly.
I look at some of those children who read out these stories today, and usually they're very quiet and they won't share all their writing and things, but for them to just develop this descriptive language the way that they have is amazing.
How hard is it for you as a teacher to get your class out to a place like this for learning?
It is quite difficult. Because usually, we are having to spend a lot of time in class making sure we are doing everything for them, like their reading, writing and maths. But the way I see it now is that my class have been doing all their reading, their writing and their maths and science out in this environment. And they don't know it, but it's sort of, for me, it's awesome. And I'm also growing as a teacher. I have just learnt so much from this, and I'm being able to pass that knowledge on to these tamariki today has been awesome.
As kaitiaki of our moana, I want the water to be free and keep on glistening. I hope it's not too dirty and I hope it's not too warm. I want the water to stay charming for all the fish so they can go on amazing journeys through the moana. I also want the slimy, shimmery kakahi and the slithery eels to roam free through the mythical waters.
As kaki of our moana, I want the water to be clean, shimmering and healthy. The slimy eels and beautiful white bait. I hope the water will be safe, clean, healthy and filtered. What I love about the water is that it's so majestic and mythical. I hope the fish and baby fish grow up to be healthy and strong. When people come to the moana, I want everyone to be happy, calm and joyful.
As kaitiaki of our moana, I want the water to be free and keep on glistening. I hope you are happy about all we are doing. I like all the presents like your stones. I hope you have kaki here so the waters are all fresh.
Wow.
You're blowing me away today, Room 3.
I'm very impressed. Yeah.
Lara Hooper ending that story. Now, she's a teacher at Kahutara School in South Wairarapa, and she was listening to some of them tell their stories. I was also speaking to Jane Rediford of the Ruamahanga Farm Foundation and Maddie Glover of Mountains to Sea Wellington.
And Sally, what's going to happen to those stories?
Well, you'll be able to listen to a recording of the kids as they read them as you walk along the river on the community walkway that's being planned on part of the farm. Now, I've put some of the photos from the day in the bell tent on our website. Go to rnz.co.nz/countrylife.